Engineering Explained had a few bones to pick about Cybertruck and the hype and the overpromise and underdeliver nature of Tesla, but there were a few key elements missing, and the kind community at X was helpful and hasty to point them out, so we will discuss them a little bit today. I'm Brian. Welcome to my Tesla Weekend. Joining me is Herbert, my good friend from Brighter with Herbert. What a great show. What a great channel. What great guests he gets. And also me. So he knows a thing or two about Tesla, about the engineering behind Tesla, and about dealing with people who don't always get the bigger picture. So I'm just going to show you this great tweet here from Jason. He had said that it's wild how overpromised and underdelivered the Cybertruck is, and seemingly with very little backlash in terms of desirability. Way less range, less tow capacity, less payload, smaller bed, fewer seats, and a huge price jump, even inflation adjusted. So before we move on, what do you think of just these statements? Just this?
So, first of all, somebody's comment, this is their comment, and it's fair. This does not rile me up or anything like that, right? Yes, there are definitely people who believe that the Cybertruck was overpromised and underdelivered. I mean, it was delayed. But then when you say, well, the reason they was delayed, it was remember COVID, remember the supply chain issues. These are things that happened, and the world shut down, and very little backlash in terms of desirability. I think by now there has been this kind of a sense that it's very, very polarized. There's people who love, and absolutely love the Cybertruck, and there's people who don't think it looks nice and they can't understand because it's so different than a traditional vehicle. But what is also true is that the people who say they don't like it, they will flip. And we're seeing that over and over again. And then when they see it in person, not just a picture, they also turn around and go, "Oh my God, I get it now." So we'll see what happens. The public, but certainly in the current kind of situation right now, this is happening. Way less range, less towing capacity, less payload, smaller bed, fewer seats, huge price jump. These are, some of them might be true based on what was promised at the very beginning. But if you compare the Cybertruck head to head with any other truck today, it meets and exceeds everyone else out there, plus more. There's so many more things. And so, I don't know how true some of these, and we'll walk down each one
Yeah,
of these.
we'll go through it. The idea with way less range, I mean, it depends which trim we're talking about. The base model has more range, and of course the top model has less range. So it depends which trim level we're talking about. My biggest complaint there was the way more expensive part, because we've seen every Tesla that's been released is released at the top price they can get for it, and then they inched the price down until they reach a level that is still profitable but doable. And it just strains credulity to think that he doesn't know this. I like the channel Engineering Explained when he explains engineering, not opines on what he thinks about things. The first crack for me in the veneer of Engineering Explained was I watched a video he made where the topic was, what is it actually like taking a road trip in a Tesla? And this was years ago, maybe 4, 5, 6 years ago. I thought this is going to be fascinating because there were no FSD channels. It was still autopilot or enhanced autopilot. I don't remember what it was called at the time. And he gets into the video and you're halfway through it, 3/4 of the way through it. I'm thinking, where's the coverage? He said, oh, I don't have that feature. I don't use it. What are we doing? This is not what this is a charging video is what this is. I want, there are aspects on which Tesla may have fallen short and aspects in which Tesla may have exceeded expectations. I would like someone to explain the engineering behind that. And I felt like I knew where to look for that. So there were some good responses to it. One, for example, we saw was Sawyer. Sawyer is a fantastic resource. Let's look at that one. If we're talking about the $80,000 all-wheel drive version, for the most part, the only thing Tesla didn't deliver on was the price and the payload. Range, towing, vault tonneau, ground clearance, etc., they pretty much delivered on or exceeded. At least they give you the option of a 470 miles of range with the extender, albeit at an additional cost. Most people don't need 500 miles, which is ultimately why they decided against that. The people buying the truck are mostly lifestyle buyers, and Sawyer made a thread on it on X himself separately, which I think I've got here. Let's see. So, things the Cybertruck went into production with that we didn't even know about. So here's where the expectations were
Wow.
beat. 17 and a half inches of ground clearance is ridiculous. That's a lot of. We've seen footage already of the Cybertruck off road in the hands of actual owners, and the performance is fantastic. It's remarkable. The 4680 structural pack, we didn't know that was going to be part of it. I don't know what advantage that is to consumers necessarily. 48-volt electrical system. The engineer in Jason should
Right.
be excited
All over
about
this.
about that for sure. Steer by wire, rear
Yeah.
wheel steering. Rear wheel steering is a huge advantage to the consumer. It allows you to corner in ways you can't otherwise. Uh, Pressurized battery feature, yeah. Power share, so you can charge another vehicle or power your house as needed. Uh, the 0 to 60, of course, we knew that would be ridiculous, but I mean, we knew a lot of things. Powered front, the 240 volt. Um, uh, these are all, you know, all of these are big deals. I think all of these are big deals. And the 350 kilowatt charging capability, we'll see how well that does. Right now, it appears that the batteries are being rate limited to maintain battery integrity while they determine the actual precise limits for a good lifespan on a battery. Yeah, did I miss any? And I'm sure if we look through the thread, you will find no shortage of Tesla fans, Tesla buyers, looking at it and saying, "Yeah, here's another 30 things you missed." If you look at the prototype compared to the actual production vehicle, it's really close, man. I can see a difference, especially in person, because I've spent enough time standing in front of them on displays to spot it. But the DNA is still there.
Still there. Yeah.
It's still there.
I mean, how many times have we seen a prototype being presented by a car manufacturer at the auto show and it never appears? It never
At
shows
all.
up ever because they were just there to show off, but it was not designed for manufacturing. And so for this person to complain that whatever was presented in 2019, didn't deliver what they say in 2023. The vast majority of what we saw there is what is because Tesla does not do they don't do prototypes for show. They do prototypes for design and manufacturing. That's what it's for, and that's what you just pointed out. It's exactly what they delivered. And the other thing I'd like to say is that, when you look at the list that he said at the very beginning, let me just pop this back up again. If this is true, if this is opinion, right? That's fine. I love that you pointed out this engineering explained, but then he's talking about things that are not as features. If this is all true, if this is way less range, low tow capacity, less payload, smaller bed, fewer seats, huge price, well, then it's not going to sell at all. Why would anybody buy this truck if all the other trucks are so much better in terms of all these things added together? Because this is pretty devastating. No range, no capacity, no payload. The end of the day, you want to compare a truck for its utility against other trucks. Step one, and then it's got to meet the needs of the consumer. In this case, as you pointed out, the buyer of this truck is not just going to be the traditional. Actually, I don't want to say because the traditional truck drivers is actually what you had a term for it, parking lot princesses.
Yeah, yeah. They look really good. You can't put a price on that unless you're Ford or GM, and then
So
you can.
if this doesn't sell because the way he presented it, then it doesn't sell, and that's what's going to decide whether or not he's right or we're right. And right now, in the last couple months of sales, in the last month here, it's through the roof. Excitement. I think we had 5 YouTubers who looked at the truck and they talked about the engineering inside, which is what blew them more away than the outside. And it's like very, very positive. All of them are super positive about this truck. And so,
Both Jason Camisa from Carmudgeon and Sandy Monroe from Monroe and Associates, who both had early access to the vehicle, talked to the engineering. They have engineering backgrounds, to put it mildly, and car experience, to put it mildly. And they were able to look at some of these things that a regular buyer uh, can't understand. Like, why do I care that it has structural gigacastings? Who cares? Why do I care that it has 48 volt? And even to some of us inside Tesla, we can't look at all these features and necessarily understand them without someone smarter than us telling us what it is we're looking at. There are too many factors like that to consider. And a problem I would say is, well, it has a shorter bed than promised. It is 6 inches shorter, but the whole truck is also more than 6 inches shorter. You gained more usable space than you lost in the bed. And it has the largest bed of any base truck out there. Most have like 4.5, 5.5 foot beds. This is 6. It's the biggest one on the market, and you're still complaining? That's that's crazy. And like you were saying with payload and towing, these are use case dependent. You know what your use case is. If it works, it works, and if it doesn't, you pick something else. And the I'm deeply disappointed, as you know. And Jason from Engineering Explained had said, look, I get it. The Tesla fans are going to come out of the woodwork and read me the riot act on this. But if all you are is a Tesla cheerleader, then, I mean, I can't help you. I'm not just a Tesla cheerleader. You've discussed this on your show. I am critical when it makes sense. The fact that it doesn't have 6 seats is a deal breaker for me. I was counting on 6 seats. I'm deeply disappointed, but I know my use case is unique, and I know there isn't another electric truck on the market that I can buy that has 6 seats. So you're holding it to a standard that doesn't make sense, that is unfair, that's unequal. And if the Hummer had said, look, we're going to have 6 seats, and then it came out with 5, people wouldn't be up in arms. There would be people who are disappointed, people like me, not necessarily in the case of Hummer, but people like me. But is it that big of a deal? The prices, of course, very disappointing and discouraging. But if you have to ignore how the truck is built to be able to get any kind of outrage there. As you and I discussed, I think it was last week, they could have just used the S or X platform and double stacked the battery and had this truck out 4 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. But it wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't have the same capabilities. It wouldn't. It would be just an expensive thing that could never come down in price. It would have hit all the other numbers though, and we know because that's what the prototype was. It was made from existing parts and put together fairly quickly, and it was on display. People could see it and ride in it and touch it. Something I have still yet to be permitted to do in any of those cases, but we'll get there. We'll get there.
but so, just a couple comments here. First of all, is if you look at his comment and then you look at his thread that he added there, he's really much more complaining about here's what Tesla promised, and you're deceitful and you're lying, and how come the Tesla faithful is going to come and defend you when this is the case? And again, point out that take a look at other car manufacturers, take a look what they announce and see where you're at. And number two, at the end of the day, like I said, if you're correct, people would be dropping orders. There's about 2 million orders that they've confirmed. Franz has confirmed that there's already 2 million orders in pre-orders. You would have seen many of them dropping it. The other thing that new stat that came out, and this is rumors, but it's pretty confident. Some people are saying that there's now 10,000 Cybertrucks per week that's being ordered. Initially, Matthew Donegan Ryan said he spoke to some employees and they said it's 10,000 per day. Then he fixed that to 10,000 per week, but it's massive. So the demand is there for the existing specs that exist now. So we'll see what happens, but that's what we're seeing.
So someone who tweeted that, who posted that on X, I don't remember who it was, Elon replied to it with an emoji. And it was like a smiley face, or I don't remember which emoji it was. But to me, that is as close to confirmation as you get. That means that the
The
Cybertruck
demand is
is
off the hook.
They're raking in more new orders for a vehicle they can't possibly sell enough of, build enough of to sell. They're raking in more new orders than most EVs sell in a year. That's a great and very unique position to be in, and one that's kind of hard to wrap your head around. Do we have anything else in the tweet thread, or was that it? I think that was it.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's I wish no disrespect to Jason at Engineering Explained. I do still enjoy the channel. I like people who know what they're good at and focus on that. And opinions on an engineering channel need to be mitigated. On Carmudgeon, Jason Camisa is very quick to say, look, I'm an entertainer. I will show you what I can about engineering. But when I reach the end of that, I'm going to make a dick joke because that's what I do. And that's what my channel expects. Yeah. Yeah. It's what he does. So, but he's also very charming. I like engineers who make me smarter, not engineers who try to confuse me. So I will still watch the channel, but I will bear in mind that there are areas where he shines, and it's got to be something that's in his wheelhouse where I don't have sufficient competency to need more than just the numbers. Just grab the chart and show me the numbers. That's my thought. Guys, if you would do me a favor, would you head over to Brighter with Herbert and give him a like, give him a subscribe, do all that good stuff. What do we miss? What do we misunderstand in the comments? I'd like to hear your thoughts. Is the Cybertruck deeply disappointing? Is your heart broken by what you see? Do you think these are the real prices that will stick for years and years? It'll be interesting to see how that comes out. Everybody else, like, subscribe, do the usual things. Stay tuned, stay juicy, and I cannot wait to hear from you clever robots on the next one.